Hi, I'm Jonathan and welcome to the Business of Software. This is a second video where I'm looking at the Software Developer's Handbook, a book that I'm busy writing. This is volume 2. So this is another update using that book and showing you what is happening in that book. And the first one I did was on heuristics, and I read you a small section in one of the chapters, and I'm going to do that again today. Hi, welcome to another video. I thought, based on the previous one about reading a chapter, I thought, oh, that was not a bad idea. I got some good feedback, so let's try another one. So let me switch on over here, and we're going to look at common heuristics, right? And you've heard of these things before, I'm sure. Don't repeat yourself. Right? Dry. Don't repeat yourself. Do not cut, copy, paste. Do not repeat the same lines of code. Do not build the same thing again somewhere else. Reuse. Right? So reuse is better than dry. That's the idea. But of course, remember, it's a heuristic. And a heuristic, you can fail hard. Right? Sometimes it's better to repeat yourself. So don't repeat yourself is a heuristic, and you must remember the context and then apply it wisely. Haste makes waste. Well, you can easily overlook things when you go too fast. Now, when you go too fast, and this is related to a video I did on continuous monotony, when you just continuously delivering and getting into a monotonous kind of state, you can easily overlook things. And haste certainly makes waste when it comes to continuous delivery or continuous value. Check yourself. Well, double check yourself. Try it again with new eyes. These are concepts. This is a heuristic where you don't trust yourself. You have a bit of paranoia. You're going to measure twice. Is it measure? Yeah, measure twice, cut once, right? It's just a heuristic to get yourself in the right frame of mind, and checking yourself is absolutely vital, right? This is something before test-driven development. You know, I used to repeat more often than I do now. I used to tell people, right, check yourself. Make sure you've checked everything you can. Test it, right? Make sure you test it before you give it to me. I don't want to find any silly mistakes and little errors, right? It's up to you to make sure that at least those are gone. Right, double check yourself. Positive feedback loops. Get people responding to your designs with feedback. But really, it's not just designs, it's absolutely anything. Get people to give feedback. That's nice, but you've got to understand it's a heuristic. You can get feedback that derails you. You can get feedback that's, oh, what is this? This isn't right. They're not even talking about the right thing. Why did they give me feedback on this? It's for the wrong product, whatever it might be. Feedback has also, it also has context, and you have to know whether you're going to apply that feedback or not, or how much influence feedback has. You ain't gonna need it, right? Do less and do not add something you may need, something you might need in the future, right? That's the idea. But however, yeah, there's a lot of times when you might want to do something which is very easy to do now, and it doesn't get in the way, it doesn't affect anything, it took hardly any time at all, more than usual, but it's going to save us a lot in the long run. You know, for example, somebody says, I'm an actor and I'm in a film, and there's one actor per film. And you say, well, hang on, there are more than one actor in a film. And you say, no, for the purposes of this film, we're only going to list one actor, the lead actor in a film, and that's what we're going to do. And you say, well, hang on, a movie can have more than one. Is it likely that you'll have an additional actor? And they, no, we don't need. And this could be direct user story. This is somebody saying, we need a lead actor. And somebody's asked the question, you sure you don't need a second actor or a secondary, something like that? No, it's just the lead. We just need the lead. Do you not get two leads sometimes? No, we want one lead. This is how it's going to be. Well, that's something where, you know, you ain't going to need it. Doesn't really apply. I would say build it as a one-to-many. You know that you're right, and you know that there's change going to come along. There's no point in limiting that. Now, it might be that on the user interface, you don't have an add button, you don't have a list, you don't do anything like that, and you have a loop, and the loop goes for each actor, oh, grab one, quit. You might have a query that says select top one. It only selects one. So you can design it to be according to the spec, what people want, the user story, but the under the hood is designed in a proper way. You know that it's probably going to be needed. And so you have to make that judgment call. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, right? It's a well-known heuristic. Of course it is. Better simple than overcomplicated. Well, that's true, but keeping something simple doesn't mean that it's elegant. Simple is not, necessarily basic, and basic is not simple, and minimal is not simple. So, like, what is simple? Keep it simple, stupid. So it's a heuristic, but nobody really knows what it means. Other than, listen, if you don't have to make it complicated, don't. And that's kind of like you ain't going to need it in a way, but it's also some other kind of meaning. And you can read probably that meaning for yourself. Most people have a different interpretation, slightly, of what that might be. Rule of thumb, basic practical advice. So, okay, so like you don't deploy on a Friday. Okay, so I hear that all the time. People say, don't deploy on a Friday. Well, I've seen people deploy on Friday. I've deployed on Friday. There's nothing wrong with deploying on Friday. I've tested it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Why can't I deploy Friday? It's just a silly thing. It's a meme. It's just something that's come into play. But don't take it literally. It doesn't mean that. What it probably more likely means is don't deploy just before you're about to walk off and leave it all alone, because something might happen, right? And sort of like Murphy's Law sort of thing. And so that's something to consider. Yeah, don't deploy. I'm about to go on holiday and now I'm going to deploy it. I'm the only one that knows how to fix it. Sure enough, maybe we should deploy it 2 days earlier, or maybe I should let somebody else take over the code, be comfortable as well, and then deploy. And so that's something that you have to work out. Okay, educated guess. We've got 3 more here we're going to get through. Okay, and then this is an update on the book that's still a work in progress. You'll see here I've got a software developer's design handbook, but actually it's the developer's handbook, and I'm just merging the design into volume 2. So the last 3, educated guess. Well, quickly ascertain the constraints and information to make an educated guess. Most estimations are entirely educated guesses. The idea they are more than guesses is cognitive bias. Okay, so I'm being quite specific there about what I think about it. But okay, so an educated guess, you've got experience, you've done it before, or you just think you know how long it's going to take. Well, there's a big difference there between those 2 types of educated guess already. And I would imagine that collective, like planning poker or something like that, you would think, well, maybe we get even better educated guess. The problem with that is you got 1 low score and suddenly everything's skewed. You got 2 low scores from 2 juniors, everything's skewed. It's a really terrible way of doing things. But an educated guess is a heuristic. It can be used wisely. It can be used in many contexts, but you got to be careful, right? And you definitely can't rely on educated guesses. If you're in an environment where people take to heart estimates and guesses and things like that, then you've got to be more careful. Working backwards. Well, that's a good heuristic. Attempting to gain the answer by working from the predicted or assumed solution to see how it could have been solved, right? If you work backwards. Working backwards can often help you discover flaws in your starting point. So if I start from there, walk, 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 pitfall, oh, walk, 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 can't get past, oh, walk, walk, dead. Go from the other side, right? Let's have a look. I've got a solution. What would that solution look like? Right? And often, sometimes like with a language, let's say you're designing a language, you would write what the language looks like. You'd actually write it as if it was there being compiled and all that, right? That's sometimes a very good place to start because you're actually understanding what the output would be. Grammarly was updated. You see, continuous updates, eh? Well, that was seamless. But if that contained a bug, right, and I'm about to read something and it crashed, I'd be very pissed off during a video, right? Okay. So I didn't even have a choice, by the way. I don't like that. Where's my moral agency and autonomy and clicky thing, right? Let me choose. What are you doing? Right. Anyway, common sense. The idea that a solution is commonly understood to make sense. The solution appeals to our sense of standard, everyday, pragmatic gut feel. Now, common sense, that's the key word. It doesn't mean, common sense doesn't actually mean good sense. It is common, right? So, for example, at some point in time, test-driven development was not common sense, and then it slowly gains in popularity and then becomes common sense. But common sense isn't good sense. So, do you get my point? So it's not necessarily, common sense isn't necessarily a positive. It's common sense because it's common knowledge, it's a common thing, and common knowledge can be very wrong. Common knowledge could be correct, but it could also be very, very